Okay, first, if you didn't catch my part 1, where I revealed science's magical avalanche theory on a bunny slope, be sure and go check that out. Also, at some point, I should cover science's magical wind theory that blew away the magical avalanche before search and rescue could get there. You know, it's kind of funny how science does not believe in magic, but boy, they sure use a lot of it when they're selling an explanation or idea to the science-worshiping masses. All right, so now let's go check out the good part. Okay, so let's just take a look. These are some headshots that I've compiled. These were the actual photographs taken on that expedition. There were at least about 5 different cameras. These kids had to be their own photojournalists to document their trip. So these photographs were very important. Now, look around. What do you see? You see faces with, say, eyebrows, eyes, noses, mouths, chins, common human features. Now just look around. See anything interesting? Say, this one here that looks more like a swarm of black hornets than it does a human face. And you see no human features whatsoever. That headshot came from this photograph, believed to be taken by one of the 9 hikers, Nikolai Thibault Bruneau. This is frame 17, roll of film number 3. Now, this guy back here in the back is said to be one of the 9 hikers. But look at this. All of this puffy, indiscernible stuff back here, that's snow-covered trees, we can't tell that because this photograph is severely overexposed. So I'm going to just darken that up just a little, just to the point that we can see where these are trees. And now look at one of our 9 hikers here. It's jet black, featureless, and in sub-zero temperatures in the snow, it's naked. Notice in that same roll of film, just a few shots before, we see this guy here. He's a distance away from the camera. But look, you see all these hard edges, jacket, the boots, the ties, collar, hoodie. But on frame number 17 here, you see none of that. Another huge problem with this photograph is look at this kind of translucent aura that surrounds this thing all over its body, head to toe, or at least head to knee. Now, that either suggests that this thing is like some sort of weird interdimensional being, or it's just a common photographic problem that when a photograph like this is, say, severely overexposed and backlit, like all the sun or all the light from this is coming from back behind this thing. And look at the trees closest to us. They're all out of focus. So those 3 factors, when we see those in a photograph, it often means that the hard edges of any figure, especially far away from the camera, is going to be eroded or deteriorated looking. And we're going to lose all the original information about just how big this character actually was. Here is a quick example of that. This, of course, is Andre the Giant, and I am going to overexpose this shot. Something about like that. Now I'm going to start blurring, and you'll see already their heads are just featureless knobs sitting on top of their bodies. And look, now we see that same translucent aura here that we did with the Dyatlov mystery beast. Now let's do this. I am going to just draw a quick outline around the most solid part that we see here. There. Look at these little matchstick arms. They look like they would break off. Look at these little legs. Do those look like the legs of a seasoned, long-distance skiing and hiking expert? Somebody who's used to packing heavy backpacks and tents and camping gears and things like that? No, of course not. Now let's do this. Let's go around the outside edge of that translucent aura. And we start seeing something a little different. Now, instead of, say, a 97-pound weakling, we're now seeing, say, a 3 to 500 pound massive giant. So ask yourself this. How is it that all the experts and book authors and TV show producers and scientists over the past 60 years overlooked a jet black, featureless, naked, massive giant who was aggressively walking towards these kids? Look at it. It's not just back there peeking out. It's coming at them. And it might shock you to know that this is the last photograph that Nikolai ever took before having his head crushed in. That's a fact. Okay, so now let me ask you this. Is it at least possible that our 9 hikers were startled in the middle of the night, surprised to find that they had some guests there? These massive black entities had shown up and were maybe objecting to the fact that the 9 hikers were there and wanted them off the mountain, or maybe they were just curious to see who was up there on their turf and wanted to come see what was going on. And so, being frightened out of their minds, seeing something that shouldn't exist, our 9 hikers quietly cut their way out of the side of the tent facing down the mountain, and then without taking the time to grab any of their supplies, they quietly and quickly snuck off down the slope about a mile to the relative safety of the trees below, thinking they would come back at a later time, get their supplies, and get the hell out of there. And let me remind you, we have photographic evidence that there was at least one encounter with one of these giants. So it's reasonable to assume that there were more encounters, and some of them might have actually gotten violent.